we are recording. What do people remember of last session?
We fought the really tiny gunslingers in the alley and then kept going towards the fire. Started fighting that, and then it got a little wacky. And that's pretty much it. It took a while to fight those guys.
Alright.
Yeah, after the fight with the tiny people, I fought the law and the law won.
Nice.
Oh, and the fire was at the house of the lady who was supposed to figure out what they used on the girl and would tell us in the morning. So we may never know what happened with that stuff.
Alright, I also remember that people picked up some items from the fight. Do people remember what items were picked up and who has it?
I grabbed the bag.
Okay.
And then I grabbed a gun that I was supposed to make note of. A weird gun off one of the 3 killed in the alley is what I wrote down.
Do you remember who performed the killing blow on the one that died in the alley? I meant to look that up.
Mildorf.
Mildorf did?
I'm kidding. Mildorf doesn't kill
I
anyone.
was like, Mildorf could have, but oof.
No.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember for sure. I'm gonna guess it was me since I was the one near it, but I was also on fire for a while.
I think I was already on the roof when he died.
Yeah.
I couldn't recall, yeah, who it was or if it was Rakul. All right. As we jump into where we left off, I'm going to start our scene, basically at the start of a rest. Is there any immediate additions? Josh, I believe you are currently helping with Bucket Brigade. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And Tappy, I believe you are in a building utilizing cast water to put out fires. Is that also correct?
Yes.
Okay. Josh, did you have any view of what just went down?
I
Or are you pretty focused
probably
on
had like
Bucket?
side of eye kind of thing. Wasn't really paying attention, but I knew where they were.
Okay.
Probably didn't see the spell itself, but the immediate follow up.
Okay. Well, we're going to be basically starting off at that follow up. Um, Jack, describe to me. We have it in a recording for the most part, but just for your final, I guess, where did you cast Corrosive Touch? Ondera had grabbed him by the collar, and I recently watched the recording, and it sounded like you also grabbed him on the collar, and that
Yeah.
is where you cast Corrosive Touch. Can you describe basically approximately where we talking about you cast Corrosive Touch against the neck, against the shoulder? Did you grab him by the collar and then cast it somewhere else?
No, I think I imagined it. I was like on his left, like, and Andera was on his right, sort of, but we're both in front of him. So she grabbed the left side of his collar, and I grabbed the right side from our perspective. And then, yeah, I imagine it just came out where I grabbed him, since it's a touch spell.
Right.
Forgot how hilarious that scene was.
All right. for your sake, I imagine the way that you grabbed his collar puts your hand down, facing down, which would be more a cast against a shoulder instead of
Yeah.
a cast against the neck. Um, okay. Any final details before I go into what I do already have prepared and written out?
Nope.
Oh, gotcha. All right. Cool. A flurry of competing commands are being yelled at you from all directions. Get on the ground, hands up, stand up, back up. All sorts of that. If you've seen any sort of um, complex or hectic arrest against a violent criminal, this is done with intention in order to confuse, distract, and make sure that they're not um, able to think clearly or make any sort of plan. So these are a ton of commands being yelled at you from all directions. Describe how you would react to this. You're being told, get on the ground. You're being told interlock your knees. Um, you're being, told, what are you doing? Show me your hands. Put your hands behind your back. Show me your hands.
I think the moment the spell went off, she just like let go and put her hands up and backed away. And then I think she just froze.
Okay. On
So I don't.
Dara,
Yeah.
how are you reacting in these immediate moments?
I believe what I said I did was immediately let go of the guy and turn on Rakul and like basically say something like, "What did you just do?" And basically attempted to assist in apprehending Rakul, or at least not be in the way.
Okay. Um, Rakul, Andera reaches out and begins to. How would you arrest him or attempt to arrest him? You putting hands behind the back, you putting hands in front, you
Or
toss. Tossing Rakul to the ground, tossing her to the ground.
Something like that.
Some.
Um,
Are you keeping Rakul in a standing position or forcing to the ground?
uh,
or are you not touching me? Because
Are
that's
you?
fair too.
Yeah, and are you using swords or to neck,
no,
or
no
dagger
sword
to
to
neck?
neck. My sword's not out. Um, I think I'm going to. I'll put my hand on her shoulder and kind of like basically tell her to kneel.
Okay, Rakul.
I think I will kneel because like all the other voices, I don't know what to do with, but I know her, so
Okay, as you begin to kneel, you, Andera, are. Rakul is tackled violently to the ground, I guess, right? As the first officers, kind of, as they're approaching, they're shouting different commands, but Rakul's coming down to the ground, but it is still they're treated basically as a violent offender, right? You have basically the equivalent of someone pulling a gun on a cop and shooting them. So they're going to be tackled to the ground pretty heavily. You're going to be pulled roughly off, and you're also going to be basically ordered to stand down and arrested yourself, but provided, or I guess, do you resist any of this, Andera?
No.
Okay, so given the fact that you don't resist, this is done with you in a standing position by a single officer. You're going to be put, hands behind your back, that type of thing. It is none of the competing commands are being shouted at you. Rakul, you are forced to the ground. Your face is pressed against the mud formed by the ash and water mixture pouring out of the nearby buildings. As you are bound and eventually gagged, you can feel kicks, mostly to your torso area, area. Can you give me a sense motive?
Okay.
And Andera, you may also give a sense motive, given your close proximity to this.
Sorry, I didn't have my sheet open yet.
No worries.
Let's see.
Andera, I guess also, given the fact that you're standing away from this, give me a perception. Okay. These kicks up, they're not intentional. Um, right? It's a rough, but I mean you've got a bunch of officers, scrambling over top. It's not a gentle arrest, but it's not like they're intentionally kicking them, right? Um, Even Rakul, you feel that these aren't, you feel uncomfortable and whatnot, but this isn't malicious. Um, as you two are escorted away, mostly in separate directions, like you're not escorted right next to each other. You gather a glimpse of the officer that Rakul assaulted as they begin to receive medical treatment. I need a perception roll from anyone who might be watching this.
As in including me?
As in including you, yes.
Ooh, I got a perfect 20. And that's must be nat 20 because I don't have any bonus to that.
Excellent. You have like no.
I have no bonus to perception.
Nice. All right. Josh, Andera, you don't really get a good look at the officer at all. Rakul, the officer is in a lot of pain. The acid has burned through their clothing, and as the adrenaline is wearing off, the pain is setting in. You're hearing screams of agony as they bandage and escort him towards the hospital. On top of that, you notice that the arm is, or his shoulder area, is severely burned, and the acid has begun to eat down to the bone. Medical or medical check from Rakul, and then followed by an arcane check.
Hmm.
Or no,
No,
sorry, just a medical first. Okay. Um, the shoulder and arm, it's gone for. Without healing magic that can regrow parts of the limb, the arm will be amputated.
Oh,
Give me an arcane check.
Arcana.
Speaking of that, do they call out for a healer, or are they just taking care of it themselves?
They're just taking care of it.
Okay.
They've got medics on site. They were there for the fire, but now they're treating to the officer. Um, Rakul, from that arcane check, this is a special ability that, like the regrowing of limbs, that some powerful casters have been able to perform. Um, Redrum would never do this for a Sparkless. And it's so rare that um, you know it wouldn't be able to be done. Like even if you were to lose your limb, this is a rare ability. There might be someone in the high orders that can do it, but it's not like your battlefield clerics have this. The officer is rushed in the direction to the hospital as you finish viewing all of this. Rakul, you are being escorted towards what appears to be a police wagon. As you are shoved inside, uh, the lip of the roof rapidly approaches your face. You are seemingly responsible to make sure your head is not banged up in the process. Give me a reflex 15. Or give me a reflex check. I don't need to read the number. Okay. Yeah, your head hits smacks against the roof of the building. Um, you could roll a sense motive if you want, but this was clearly not done to protect you because Andera, you are forced away for a second wagon. You will not be transported with Rakul. when the wagon arrives, you are placed with your head a lot more gently. Um, um, cool. Any So as Rakul and Andera, Andera, your second wagon comes, I think, within like 5-10 minutes. As you're both escorted away, is there anything that players want to react to in that scene?
Not at this time.
Particularly from Josh, Tappy, I assume, unless stated otherwise, you are still caught up in the fire and you are completely unaware of these events.
Correct.
I believe last time I did say that I called out to whichever one of them that I could see to get our lawyer. Or to let House Redrum know or something along those lines.
I think I wrote down that Josh received that order.
Yeah.
Yes, I recall that. I also recall Josh receiving that and deciding it was of unurgent importance.
Well, it wasn't unurgent, but there is a building actively on fire with potentially people in there.
Right.
And I may stop hearts for fun, but I'm not a total dick.
Cool. Um,
Save the strangers that abandon your friends. Got it.
Friends, associates, it's a legal matter now.
one thing I would like to impress upon, particularly Jack and Elisa, out of character, obviously you understand your rights. For the most part, this world will operate similarly to ours because I'm not ready to write a complete judicial system from the ground up. Um, in real life, obviously, the correct answer is to always wait for your lawyer, but play this as I think you guys are approximately 21 to 24-year-old character, fresh graduate might do. Um, just in the coming moments, try to keep your experience out and allow for that character to speak through. If your character would have that ingrained, then so be it. But this isn't necessarily something ingrained into you by Redrum because you're not supposed to be getting in trouble. It's probably been mentioned once or twice. You would be familiar with the lawyers are going to be part of the division called the face of Redrum, I believe. Stand by. Yep, the face of Redrum. Um, so you would be aware of them, and that lawyers would, should they be notified, be on their way to assist. Um, but play it as your character would, not as you, the player, would. All right. Rakul. Most of the officers in the station bear the normal marks of Penrith on them, but the two officers that come to escort you are dressed in hefty silken robes, and they are dressed differently and bear a special mark that is a mixture of Redrum's military symbol and Penrith's police symbol. Give me knowledge local. Um, you've seen this before, but you can't quite remember um, what this is. Give me knowledge arcana. The robes that they're dressed in. If you as a player remember, this is going to be some of that spider silk robe. They are dressed in basically um, counter mage gear. Um, You are, Rakul, escorted and placed into a single occupant cell with a thick metal door. There is a medium-sized mail slot that you are able to stick your hands back through, and you will be uncuffed. Uh, should you comply? Do you comply all the way through this police station?
I think so. Right now,
Okay,
she's very remorseful and feels like her life is over and doesn't know what to do. So,
cool. That was going to be my next question, is describe how your character is behaving. Um, remorseful's good. Um, Give me, I guess, a couple of thoughts and fears.
Um, like when she saw the arm that's basically destroyed, she thought about how she loved being a part of Redrum because she wanted to help people, especially the kids. She was looking forward to this assignment, and she feels like she did the opposite, and she's never going to be allowed to help anyone ever again.
Do you want to provide, since you were the first to the police office, or the police station, do you want to provide any flavorful details to observations that you make there? Things of note, importance, significance, beyond what I have provided.
No, I don't have any profound ideas. I think besides noticing the people who are hauling her and her cell, I don't think she's noticing much of anything. So,
Um, just as a flavorful reminder to players, while a lot of our tech and aesthetics are going to be 1915s-ish era, I don't believe Redrum has access to anything like motorized vehicles or cars. So it's still going to be a bunch of horse-drawn stuff. Cool.
flying brooms.
I mean, not on the common. To say that there isn't, I feel like there's probably something in Pathfinder lets you do it, so we'll figure that out. But on the common, no. Andera, you are brought to the police station. You are not escorted by any of the special military
The
or
brute
the
squad.
specially silk drawn people, and you are taken to a general population cell, and are to both of you are to await further instructions. Andera, do you wish to provide thoughts, feelings?
At the moment, I'm kind of in shock and kind of pissed off, actually.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, these are internal thoughts and feelings, not thoughts and feelings to the officers.
Right. Um, I will probably find a corner of the general cell and just sort of sit arms crossed, not making trouble, but not really saying much. I'm kind of shocked that Rakul would have done something like that. And yeah. And
Alright.
pissed off that I'm now sitting in a cell for something he did. Like
Right.
sorry, she.
She. Both of you are sat in your respective cells for what seems to be an hour. It's quite some time. When you are finally brought to a room, you are taken to separate small rooms. You do not see each other in the hallway. It would have been staggered. There is a table and a couple of chairs, no windows. You are asked if you want anything to eat or drink, or if there's anything that you need.
I will I'll say yes to a water.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll accept water, and yeah,
Ice or no
I
ice?
assume they ice. Yeah.
Okay.
They have ice? Sure.
Okay. I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's tons of spells that produce ice. I don't know.
Ice.
When were icebox invented?
I don't know.
Icebox.
I know. I mean, from the Victoria show, they had huge blocks of ice in the palace in like the 1890s.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Yeah.
get ice when nature made it and store it as gigantic blocks and then have it, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Ice
It wasn't
boxes.
widespread.
Ice boxes were invented in the 1800s, in the early 1950s, or 1915s. Yeah, I mean, you would have had you would have had access to an ice box, or the police station would have had access to an ice box. I'm not sure if ice boxes would have been used to give people ice water, but whatever. Um,
I mean, I believe a non-electric icebox was really a shed.
uh, it depends. You
Yeah.
had freezer looking devices as well.
Huh.
It wasn't just sheds. It was like freezers initially before they were electric. Were basically, or refrigerators were basically the size of refrigerators we have now. But like half of it was an ice block.
Mm.
And you can have those ice blocks delivered to you basically on a regular schedule. And you would use it to keep food and other things cold to help with preservation. Um, I don't have a direct article in front of me, but that is what I remember of certain things.
Okay. And then
I feel
I
like
mean,
Avalon touches on it a little bit.
I I was gonna say she would accept food, but I feel like she's not hungry. Too depressed to eat, probably.
I mean, it's an hour. Depression definitely would be setting in terms of adrenaline. You definitely would be coming off of that. Um, cool. You are sat and sat and sat and sat after seemingly almost another hour. I don't know. Give me a perception check, both of you. I guess time perception. How good at keeping time are you?
I thought I would do worse.
Yeah, not bad. Andera?
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to find the right place on
Andera,
the
you have no idea how long you've been here.
Nope.
It is
Twiddling my thumbs.
seemingly forever, but also not time at all. Three, the opposition. Yeah. Cool. So you're gonna be waiting for about yeah, somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour. But before we go into that, I want to go back to the fire, as the fire in all of this time is starting to die down, and you two are more or less inclined. You're free to go. Those that are left have it under control, and at this point, too many cooks might cause more problems. Cappy and Josh.
Yeah, once it gets to that point, I'll just try to find Tappy. Hopefully not.
I imagine Tavi would be, once everything seems fine, probably just walking out of a severely burned building, soaking wet.
Yeah, just feathers
Yeah,
soaked.
Feathers and ash.
Just a wet bird.
Yeah, gross.
Wet.
Prestidigitation it all the way.
Josh,
I don't. What's up?
do you inform Tappy at all of what's going on? What do you do? Do you want to the original house that was on fire is, down to a smoldering level. Um, you can stick around, do investigation there. Um, you can go to the embassy. You can go to the police station. Tappy doesn't even know what's going on yet.
Yeah, after cleaning Tappy
We're
off,
squad friendly.
try and give a rundown of what happened. Okay, so it was Antira was talking to the cop first, right?
Yes, that.
I mean, we walked up together. I think she spoke first, but
Okay. I'm not entirely certain what happened. Antera was talking with one of the officers, and Rakul stepped up, and then they were on the ground. Sounded like Rakul casted some sort of spell. I'm not sure. We should probably head back to the embassy.
I think Tappy's just kind of taken aback by this, just unbelievably confused, and just gives a curt little nod.
Oh, the
Uh,
situation. Uh, uh, I probably have no idea where we are, so I'm not going to be able to lead the way. I don't. Yeah, we were way off. Tepe, do you remember the way home? In the
That's a good
shuffle, I didn't
question.
really follow where we were running.
I feel like Tappy would have a decent sense of direction, given that I have an ungodly amount of wisdom. Um, is there any role you'd like me to make for this show?
um, what skill do you think best reflects what you would need? Knowledge urban would fit well here. Perception would
I
fit
think
well here.
survival is
Survival,
literally
survival
the.
can fit.
Yeah,
Yep,
I think that's literally the skill for it.
yep. I would allow
Um,
survival.
okay. One moment. Did not actually have the game open on my phone. There it is. Can you roll for me while I arrange?
Yep.
Thank you.
Want survival?
Yeah.
Perfect. I suppose I should have looked up what a survival roll needs for various things. Tracking. 15 to keep from getting lost. Yeah, you got it. Very cool.
No part of me is surprised.
Yeah, you're like, it's a simple grid layout. It's not that hard. You take this artery to that artery and bring it down and make a left at your road. It's take 21st Street down to whatever. Um, very cool. Um, Josh or Tappy, are you wanting to go anywhere else on your way to the embassy, or is there any side detours that you're wanting to make?
Um, I'm gonna be honest, Tappy is half tempted to instead lure Josh back to that bar just to deal with that guy real quick.
Well,
I feel like that's not the character though. I feel like that's me just being a real just the worst. I mean, I'm trying to think how much Mildorf would influence Tappy, and I feel like it's a lot. No, we'll go to the embassy. We'll go to the embassy.
okay. Other
And
notable places
I'm going to game mode.
that you might want to go would be hospital, alleyway, where you had the fight, and the embassy. But it sounds like you are on your way back to the embassy, which is great. So you arrive at the embassy. Um, who takes point? What happens? And what are you doing here? Don't everyone speak up at once.
As
Josh,
far
you
as I
were.
know, I'm not there, right?
Yeah, I know.
So
Josh, you
that's
Yeah,
one of
I
you guys.
forgot I was
informed of the
muted.
situation. Oh, you were muted. Nice.
Yeah. I'm eating M&Ms and they make a lot of noise.
Yeah. So, yeah. Taking point. You're at the embassy. What do you want to do? How do you want to
Just straight to whatever telephone-esque mechanism they have.
Okay.
I'll try to contact the commander, see if I can figure out what the hell we're going to do about this.
Cool. So as you go to basically talk on the telephone, the receptionist or whatever we want to call this device, the receptionist or the person in charge of the device, would basically, um, be like, oh, another urgent call. Is this perhaps related to the call that was made out a couple hours ago by Penrith officials?
What happened in Penrith?
You're in Penrith.
Oh, right. I was thinking this was the
Hadley?
White Bridge or whatever.
Okay. No, this is Penrith.
Okay. Oh. Yes, unfortunately. We've had a bit of a situation.
Excellent. As you're talking to them, we're going to swap real quick. Um, Rakul, Andera, your respective doors, again, your separate rooms, is opened. A person identifying as the lead investigator is bringing both of you the water that you requested with ice, and they have come into the room. Rakul, um, you were re-handcuffed. You are handcuffed to the desk. As the lead investigator enters your room, a person dressed in silken robes, or clothes, also enters the room, stands off in the corner, eyes on you. Um, the investigator offers to remove your handcuffs, assuming that you basically under the promise that you're going to behave.
Yeah.
Okay. The handcuffs are removed. And I mean, you've been chained to the desk for, dang near an hour now. So, you're gonna have, that achiness and, kind of that rubbing
Yeah.
of your hands. The water is placed in front of you. Um, do you get to drink it?
Um. Yeah.
Um, so the fun thing about ice water, I've learned not to accept ice water in interviews, as I'm interviewing jobs, is it makes a lot of clinking noise if you're nervous. So describe I guess the steadiness of your hand, um, based on how you emotionally might feel in this moment, as you drink that water. Is it, clinkety clackety a lot? Or are you just like smooth and cool as a cucumber?
Um. I think
Parkinson
I
guy on a
don't.
wooden roller coaster. Holy cow!
What'd you say?
Josh put into the Roll20 chat, shaky like a Parkinson guy on a wooden roller
Ah.
coaster. Which, I mean, is a very accurate description from, like, the one time I had ice water in an interview. Yeah, it was just...
I mean, I think usually Rakul's pretty calm. I mean, she's very much in her head, but I don't think she's shaky. So there's probably a little bit more clacking than normal, but I don't think it's like, it's certainly not Parkinson guy on a roller coaster. No.
So,
I appreciate you doing that all.
Yeah, here, we can roll for it. Oh, I guess it is pretty bad.
I mean, it's not really a dexterity thing. It's more of a mindness, right?
Hmm.
Dexterity would be, I guess, if your nerves are shot and you're trying to hide it. You could do like a bluff or, yeah, something like a dexterity. But this is more of your mental state, which really shouldn't be done by a roll. This should be done by your character
Oh.
speaking to you.
Um.
And I guess
Yeah.
whether or not you're trying to hide it, right?
Yeah, I don't think she's trying to hide anything. She's just kind of shutting down. Yeah.
So this lead investigator is nice. It's kind, right? You've got stern, burly guy in the corner eyeballing you, but you've got nice investigator in front of you.
This
You know,
one's
they've
good cop.
Yep.
exactly, right? This one's brought you water. This one's undone your handcuffs. You know. So, Rakul, do I have your name right, Rakul?
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to understand what happened. Can you just walk me through all that happened here?
Starting when?
As early as you'd like. Tell me everything. Tell me the context of why. Let's start with why are you here?
It's really hard because I'm thinking, yeah, no, you really shouldn't give backstory. And Rakul's like, I want to make them understand why I did this.
That's all we're asking. We're asking to understand what happened.
Okay, so I think Rakul will actually start back in the other village, and I don't want to go like moment by moment because we were all there, but I think she'll explain about how we.
Just explain. Just
Yeah,
explain.
go ahead. Just bring it
All
in the
right.
moment.
All right. So what was the name of the other city? White
Hadley.
something?
Hadley.
Hadley.
Alright.
Okay. So we were sent to Hadley to kind of supervise the testing of children there, and we found a girl who definitely has magical ability, but her parents had tried to take her away or send her away with some unreputable people who gave her something, and she, like a medicine or something, that knocked her out. And so we brought her as quickly as we could to Penrith here, because I especially I'm really worried for her life, and I hope she's okay. And while I was on my way back to our apartment from sitting with her in the hospital, we got to our apartment, and I was sleeping fitfully because I was worried about her, and then we all heard this explosion, and we went outside to see what it was, and we were attacked by, well, I guess they were miniaturized halflings. I don't know who they were, but they attacked us, and we fought them off, but they actually they knocked me and Andera here out for a bit, and then once our friends woke us back up, we continued on toward the explosion, and we found out that the woman who was trying to help us figure out what these people did to the poor girl, Anna, we found out that it was her house that was on fire and she's missing. And so I was just really, really worried. And then we went to talk to the sergeant, and he essentially blamed us for this explosion that we had nothing to do with, and I was really stressed out. And I guess when I touched him, a spell just sort of happened.
So did you
Muting,
mean?
sorry.
What was that, Elisa?
I said muting, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, does Ender laugh at that?
Andera can't hear you. Andera's in a
Oh.
different room and has
Oh,
no
okay.
idea.
I thought that we were together. My bad.
No.
Okay.
He said like 6 times. We haven't seen each other since the fire.
Okay.
So it was an accident, a misunderstanding.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So let me go back just a little bit. So I've got that in Hadley, you picked up a girl, she was unconscious when you got there.
Yeah. She'd been
Okay.
taken to a cave.
She'd been taken to a cave. And who had taken her to a cave? Her parents had taken her to the cave?
No, some men that her parents had handed her off to. I don't know who exactly.
Okay, so this was not a kidnapping?
No, not exactly.
And so then after you got her from the cave, she became unconscious.
She was unconscious when we found her.
Okay. Was she handed to these people unconscious?
No. I don't think so. We knew about her from some other people we encountered, but we had not seen her until we found her unconscious in the cave.
Okay. Who decided to bring her to Penrith?
We were told to take her there
Who's this
by
we?
Andera and Joshua, whatever his last name is. I would know it and I would say it. And Tappy. We were told by the testing officer.
Andera, I know. Andera, she's given us, her side of the story. Quote. Side note, no, she has not. We're just, getting, your side and what's happened. Who is this Joshua, to you, and who is this Tappy to you? Talk to me about their role in the events today.
The 4 of us are a group of officers for Redrum who were sent to, as I said, supervise the testing of children to see whether they have the spark and would thus be sent to the schools.
Okay. So you have the girl. Whose decision was it to bring her to Penrith?
So we took her back to Hadley, and then
where was
her
she before?
She was in a cave outside of Hadley. We took her back to Hadley.
How far outside?
Like 5-minute walk.
Okay, so not like outside of Hadley, where you're talking, not in the buildings proper.
Right. Yeah. In the woods nearby. So we took her back to town. We took her to the doctor in town, and he he didn't know exactly how to help her, and so we showed
Do you
her
have a
to
name of
her
this doctor?
parents. I should in my journal. Let me see.
No, it's all right. We're just so this is the doctor in the town of Hadley.
Yeah.
We can look that up. You don't need to go fetch your personal belongings.
Okay. And then so he and our uh, tester guy, whose name I should just plain know, but my character knows, I'm sure.
I will give that one to you. The tester's name.
Greyfire, I found it. So the town doctor and Greyfire looked at her, and we brought her parents to her, and Greyfire and the doctor suggested that she would be better helped here at the hospital in Penrith, and so we took her.
So her parents wanted you to bring her here?
Yes.
Okay. So did the parents mean to give her off to these people? I'm confused. You show up to the town to test. The parents the parents give the girl to these people upon your arrival, and then she ends up unconscious, and then the parents have you bring her here?
Yes, what we discovered was that the father did not want her to be taken off to school, so he worked with some rebels who said they would just take her out of town to safety while we were there and bring her back after. When he found out that they gave her whatever this was not that seems to have hurt her, he felt remorseful and ashamed, and he wished he had not done that, and then he let her come with
So you
us.
know the father works with the rebels?
Yes.
Okay,
Or had,
why
yeah.
did they tell you this?
We found he was the local newspaper maker, printer, and he admitted that he had been putting coded messages in the newspapers for them.
Okay, and so I'm confused here. So the father works with the rebels, gives the girl off, and then you bring the girl back and you allow the father to have a say over where his daughter goes? Is he working with the rebels or like I'm confused as to I guess
Well, both, I mean, everybody agreed anyway, so it didn't really
Notably
matter.
so.
I'm confused as to why I guess they're not locked up. If you suggest if you were implying that they're working against Redrum, and yet they seem to have the freedom to state what you're doing with their daughter.
Well, the father is in jail in Headley.
Oh, the father's in jail.
Yeah,
And how did the father end up in jail?
we we told the mayor to put him there.
Okay, so you arrested the father.
Yeah.
Describe that.
Um, we got to his house. His daughter was missing. He and his son tried to attack us. Um, it wasn't very effective. We did our best not to hurt him and just
Don't
stop the fight,
go
and
into
then we
So
had
detail there. What do you
I
mean
mean,
by
I was not involved in that fight at all. And Dara and I forget, was it Tappy or Josh?
you tell me?
Hold on a sec.
Nope. Don't look at your journal.
No, my daughter is trying to
Oh,
talk
okay.
to me.
I was like, just don't pull up the old story. Even if you get some of these details wrong, this basically is simulating the fog of war of having all of this happen and lack of sleep. You're looking at what, 4 a.m. in the morning right now, at minimum? Elisa, while Jack is dealing with real world stuff, we'll switch over to you. Um, Person identifying as a lead investigator shows up, hands you the ice water. Um, Similar line of questions. You do not have the enforcer in the room glaring at you. You are not, while you were left in that room, you are not bound or gagged. You are just sat freely at the table. Um, Tell me what happened out there.
Well, earlier this evening, we were woken up by the sound of the explosion. And I got out of bed and headed downstairs, and we were at the embassy and met up with Josh, Joshua, and Rakul, and we decided to go investigate. On our way, we were we encountered some people who were acting a little strange and without warning attacked us. I don't have a ton of memory of that event because I was knocked unconscious. One of them shot, or a couple of them shot me several times. Um,
Elisa, can I have you give me a survival, knowledge, urban, or perception, so as you can best direct where where this fight occurred?
sure. Let's see. I've got. You said survival, knowledge, urban, or what?
Perception.
Perception's going to be my best.
Is that 11 the roll, or is that from earlier?
That 11 is the roll.
Okay. For whatever reason, roll 20 didn't make the sound it normally does. So, okay. You remember probably like the general direction you ran out of the embassy, right? Like you turned left,
Yeah.
or you know it's between the embassy and the fire, but I don't think you really know, where it
Too
was.
much more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry. Continue.
I
You were
believe I believe one of them was knocked out and the other two, from what my colleagues told me, got away.
okay.
We
Not knocked out and stable.
um I didn't check his pulse myself. I'm not really sure. He was unconscious when we left.
Veronica, I'm busy right now. So you don't know the state of them.
No.
Okay. Why were you or why don't you go ahead and finish your story, and then I'll have some follow-up questions for you.
We had encountered, so it was the three of us, and we met up with our fourth colleague and his pet companion, not really pet, his companion. um in the midst of that fight, we kind of converged on each other, and so we still wanted to help with the fire, and we headed in that direction. um when we got there, two of my companions started helping, and I saw your sergeant, constable, I'm not sure. I saw him, and he seemed like he was in charge, so I figured I'd go uh, talk to him and see if we could learn more about what was going on. When I got there, he was quite rude, actually, and dismissive, and quite unwilling to help. Um, I got a little frustrated and tried to intimidate him, but without causing any harm. And before I knew it, my colleague had put her hands on him as well, and there was some sort of magical casting. And which completely surprised and shocked me. So I turned on her and asked her what she had done, and immediately tried to uh, assist with anything you guys might need.
Shocked, were you it, shocked implying a state of mind, or shocked implying electricity flowing through you? You cast
Oh,
spells out of.
checked implying a state of mind. I know there was magic. It seemed to be some sort of elemental damage involved, but I'm not entirely sure what it was. I honestly don't know.
Okay.
It's all a blur.
Okay, so you don't have a lot of details about the fight, or you do?
The fight in the alley.
Yes, I'd like to hear more about that.
Well, I recall we turned the corner and saw three individuals who were behaving quite differently than anyone else in the area. Everybody else seemed to be, generally speaking, running toward the fire. These individuals seemed to be sneaking away from it in a not in a I'm worried about what's going on, so I want to get as far away from here as possible, but in a much more suspicious way. When we turned down the alley toward them, as I recall, they took a shot at us. And which started the engagement. That is how I recall it.
So they started the engagement.
As I recall it, they were the first to make an aggressive move. Yes.
Okay, and you're saying there were gunshots?
Well, there were gun wounds. Um,
Gun wounds.
yes. As I recall, somehow their guns do not make noise. It was very strange.
So they're shooting guns without shooting guns.
I can't really explain it, but I guess that would be the best way to put it.
Okay. So all of that happens, and we get to the scene of the fire, and instead of helping with the fire, you find an officer who is trying to control a hectic, chaotic scene, and you are taken aback by the fact that perhaps they're not wanting to have a conversation, and so you attack them and intimidate them.
I will admit that I may have made an error in judgment when I placed my hands on his collar. We an associate of the house who was trying to help with um, a poisoning that we'd had and brought to this city. The whole reason we were here in the first place.
Poisoning.
Yes.
Who was
We
poisoned?
believed she was in the house that had gone up, and we were quite concerned for her.
The girl who
And
was poisoned?
no, the associate who was trying to help us with the poisoning.
Okay, are you poisoning someone?
No, no, no. She was trying to help us figure out what girl had been poisoned with. And myself, actually, I was suffering the effects of it last night.
And how do you feel today?
I don't feel great, but I haven't had much sleep, and like I said, I was not feeling great yesterday by the time we got to the town here.
I mean, you're tired, you're you know, you make a judgment error here. You're sleep deprived, you're not feeling well, you're at a hectic situation. Um, the officer's not ready to talk with you, and you make a lapse in judgment. That happens. Tell me more about the girl. Pause. Um Cool. We're gonna pause the conversation right there, Elisa.
Okay.
Do you go to talk about the girl?
Sure.
All right, we'll resume that in just a little bit. So we're gonna head back to the embassy. Josh and Tappy, are you both present in the call right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, I can.
Cool.
As Josh, you go to make the call. You hear. I guess give me like an arcane sense. Whether that would be shoot, what are all the skills? It's like spellcraft. There's another one for
I
like
feel like it'd be like a knowledge arcane.
yeah. Knowledge arcane would work. Right now I'm just looking for more of a perception.
I'm blind.
Perception or use magic spellcraft. Spellcraft is the skill I'm thinking of.
Given that Tappy is also present, can I also make that roll?
Yes, you may.
Okay. I will go ahead and do that then. Okay.
Excellent. So you two feel.
Oh wait, it went through?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh
rolled a-
my.
You rolled a 20. I mean, not nat, but you rolled a 20.
Well, yeah. I'm surprised. Anyways, continue.
All right. There is this whooshing sound that begins to emanate, and you can feel the magical energies begin to like raise the hair up on your skin as magic begins to concentrate into from the room into an area. It's getting smaller and smaller into um, this area. There's a circle on the floor, and um, before you presents a woman a woman. They are wearing a prominent embroidering representing them as part of the face of Redrum. Without any knowledge checks, you would know that this is representing the lawyers of Redrum for real-world equivalencies. Um, Anyone want to tell me any other details regarding this person? This is anyone, including people who are not there. This is your opportunity to help develop a character.
She has aristocratic features, dark, wavy hair, and looks, yeah, we'll go with that. That's what I got for you so far.
It goes for us to say generally very clean cut attire, but the person in it is extremely bedraggled, deep sunken eyes, really visibly exhausted.
Okay. Anything else? Excellent. I need a name. Anyone want to give a name? Liz, I can go generate one. If
I'm
gives
think
feel like-
I keep thinking Letitia something, but I don't have a last
Letitia.
name.
Letitia?
Letitia.
Letitia it is.
Latisha.
Sure.
Is that correct? I don't know. I don't know how to spell Letitia.
Well, I would think Latitia. I think,
Lati what?
and then
TIA.
another TIA.
Oh, TIA.
Letitia.
Latitia. Man, all right. I'm gonna write a pronunciation underneath that for myself of Litisha in parentheses. Otherwise, I will get that wrong.
I'm glad you did that because in hindsight, I totally foresee you reading that as Latitia.
Yeah, I totally would read that as Letitia. Letitia. Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That's totally a Letitia. I
Mm,
don't think it's quite Titia, but yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
All right. All right. Letitia stands before you. Elisa, what do you mean by aristocratic features?
Like, the sort of the
Like a
like
long
a
face,
longish face, sort of like chiseled,
Okay.
like a thin
like,
nose.
yeah, thin nose, sort of pointed, just
Are
like
they elf? Or is
With
this
elf.
maybe
human
half
with
elf.
maybe half
Like,
elf?
yeah.
I was thinking half elf.
Nice. I like half elf. I too was thinking half elf. Excellent. So we have a half elf standing before you with dark wavy hair. They're cut. Or cut. They're dressed for courtroom and like they're ready to go. But it's also 4 a.m. They got out of bed and got dressed well, but
Like just now.
they were in bed. They are visibly unhappy, though not at any one particular person in the room. Um, in their hand, you see a scroll finish crumbling, um, and its ashes just kind of like basically magically fade right into the ether. Um, in reality, conservation of matter, they probably just crumble to a fine dust, but it does, as that magical energy whooshes away, right? You had that concentration of magic coming in and and now it's gotta start to dispel. Basically, the ashes float with that back into, spreading out across the room. They stepped, you know, out of the circle. Um, there's a mark, I think, right next to the circle on the wall, or whatnot. This would be unique to this location, but I don't have what this mark means. Knowledge arcana, basically to anyone who's been in this room. So that would include Andera and Rakul.
Oh, I've been in that room.
This would be
Yeah,
in
this
the
is my.
telecommunications room. Assuming you went to the telecommunications room.
I don't
Actually, would they
think.
have? Because as
I
last I
don't think I
recall, it was
had.
only Joshua and Tappy.
Oh, you're
I don't
right,
think anyone else has seen
because
this room.
they stayed at the hospital. You are
Yep.
correct.
Yeah.
So, Andera, you've not seen this room yet, but you'll know this the next time that you walk in there. Josh, it's not a teleportation circle, but it is a designated spot for teleportation. That symbol on the wall is basically what casters would
Keeps
learn to
people from putting
memorize.
furniture there.
Yeah. It provides that unique basic symbol that they can lock onto. They're also by providing a unique symbol. I don't know why this isn't done in other systems. Glitch would have loved this, but basically you can write down each symbol into a book, and then basically, if you have that book, you can like look up and be like, oh, I want to go to somewhere, and you can like basically refresh your mind as to what that place looks like. Because teleportation requires that visualization, um, and that knowledge of the place beforehand. So that would be what the primary use of this is. That scroll that has faded is likely a teleportation scroll. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely making note of that.
yeah, but this is otherwise not a teleportation circle, which is traditionally in D&D a reusable by anyone type of location. It is just a stay clear of this area, right? Because somebody might come in at any moment, and then here is a spot for you to visualize. Um, so upon how's this? Penrith, I believe. Penrith.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, if you want to record the symbol, I don't have a symbol, but yes, if you're wanting to record the symbol for later and write that in your own book, you are welcome to do so. The face of Redrum, Letitia, upon seeing you two there, and dressed in the boots and, grabbing for the phone, you're not, like, in, like, the embassy like, garb, so you clearly don't work there. You might know what's going, like, okay, I've been sent, they'll give you whatever credentials they need. They pull out their little badge and whatnot. Nobody's surprised to see them. What's going on? Like, what we got a call. We got a call from Penrith Attorney General that two of you, Boots of Redrum, are in custody, and someone assaulted a police officer with magic? What is going on?
I wish I knew more than you did, honestly. That's pretty much all I have as well. We were awoken by an explosion, looked out the window and saw a fire, began to make our way there after gathering our little
Okay.
group.
I'm gonna get your statement later. Where are they? Take me. Where are they?
Hey, where's the prison?
So, you don't even know where they are. Fucking. Okay. So, she basically, at this point, you're useless. Uh, we'll turn to the embassy staff, because that's all you're going to be doing is acting as a middle person, and she recognizes this and is just like, all right, get me to where they are. She is going to be escorted by the embassy, in a hastily manner towards the police station. Josh, Tappy, one, you can interrupt this process. You can, go along quietly, etc. So, but she is basically at that moment done talking to you. She is on a mission to get to the police station now.
Yeah, I'm just following like a puppy.
Okay, cool.
Given
You
that
may-
Tappy is still in incognito and soaked, I think he makes a point to go.
I tried you off.
Oh, right. You drive me off. Right. Well, I'm still incognito. I think Tappy makes a point to go change back into uniform.
Okay. While you are doing that, when you come back down, they're all going to be gone. You're welcome to try and catch up or do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'd like to try to catch up.
Okay. You'll be able to catch up. I'm assuming you went to go change the moment that you two entered the embassy. And so basically they teleported in maybe as you were going up the stairs. Do you have a long changing process, or are you like rushing this?
I think Tappy's definitely rushing it.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if you're like, I gotta put on my makeup, and 2 hours
Yeah, bird
later.
makeup. I mean, what would it be to determine how
Gotta
quickly
brush your
Tappy dresses himself? Like,
feathers.
handle
Well,
animal?
first of all, do you have handle animal? Do you have armor that you're putting on, or is it just plain clothes?
Tappy wears padded armor, so yes.
Elisa,
But
can you
it's
look up hastily donning padded armor? There is an
Yeah,
actual
I will.
mechanic for that. So likely Tappy, given the fact that you're rushing, given I believe your survival check earlier, you knew the area basically, right?
you told me I got like a 15, and that was to find my way back to the embassy, which is a route I've walked before. Would you like me to roll another survival to see if I can guesstimate my way to the PD?
Yeah. So Tappy, you're rolling 19. Yeah, you may roll another survival. Basically, I'm looking to see if you're basically, once you've seen a street, like, you instantly understand its geography and how it might relate to other streets, right? If this street goes north and south, then approximately up there will meet a street that's going east and west, type of thing. So
Yeah.
survival 13, you also are going to ask for assistance, which is fine because you don't actually know where the police station is and you didn't see which way they took. It's better not
I
to
guess
guess
maybe that'd be
around.
more knowledge local. I don't know, but yeah, no, I get you.
It could be knowledge. I mean, if you've got a reason to tell me that you know of Penrith, knowledge local can't just be a catch-all. It is knowledge of this
Yeah, that's
particular
right.
local. You know,
Yeah, no, Tappy's never been here.
yeah. If you had been places similar or whatnot, you might be able to advocate to be like, I'd be able to guesstimate where the police station is. But I think with that survival check, um,
No.
it's quick enough to ask, but I don't think you necessarily need to be escorted. They just need to point you in the right direction. It just takes you a beat longer. I think you reach them basically about 3/4 of the way there.
I gotcha.
Cool. It is approximately 4:30 in the morning. 4 to 4:30 in the morning, if I have my timings all correctly. Um,
Oh my god, Tappy still hasn't slept. It's been like 2 days.
I was gonna say, Josh, I believe you were able to get in some rest utilizing Keep Watch.
Yeah,
Were you
pretty
able to get
much like right after the hospital.
so you almost like full rested or basically about half rested?
Yeah, I think we had said it was about a half.
Okay. Tappy, you have not rested. How long approximately do you feel that you've been up? Are you at
Tappy
full rest?
hasn't rested since the caravan. So while I'm sure Mildorf is actually, if Mildorf was being carried around in my backpack, would it be?
Mildorf takes naps during the day. I mean I imagine
Well,
them
yeah,
more like a cat. They're most active at dawn and dusk.
gotcha. Okay, so
That doesn't
then
have to be canon.
Tap.
I just
Well, no. I mean, again, technically Drakes don't sleep, but
yeah.
I guess in that regard, I was just wondering, would Mildorf have gotten enough rest to like, recover things?
Um what was Mildorf doing during the time at the fire?
Uh, that's a good question, actually.
Was
Um,
Mildorf just basically put down and taking a nap right there, just like, oh look, warm fire, like, all right, cool.
I would imagine so. I don't think Tappy would have gone into the burning building, much less while spraying water everywhere with Mildorf.
Is Mildorf the type of personality to basically see a building on fire and be like, yeah, this is fine, or is it like excited like a little puppy, seeing
Um,
its
given
favorite
given
toy?
that they're an Earth Drake, I feel like they wouldn't care much for it. Like I feel like they'd be far more likely to just like sit down near some burning stuff and take a nap than they would be to go play with the fire.
Okay. So yes, Mildorf. If any of them can, if any of its abilities can be recovered in multiples, recover them by half. If any of them's just like, hey, once per day or once per whatever, you can
Yeah,
recover them
it's
in
once per
full.
day.
Then go ahead and
Cool.
recover it in full.
Awesome.
I
And
assume that Mildorf won't be active again for a little bit and basically can just sleep or catnap in your backpack as you move.
that's kind of what I would imagine as well.
Okay.
Tappy, on the other hand, has definitely been up for like over 24 hours at this point because last time they slept, or would it be 24 hours? How long has it been since the caravan?
So you had the caravan. So um,
We we
you rested
we've already
by I believe the river, and then you had the fight with the people, or the rebels outside of Hadley. You got into
yeah.
Hadley, immediately engaged in a second fight that day. Um, then taking the girl, you made an afternoon run to Penrith. Is that correct? No sleep in between.
Correct.
Nope, no
So
sleep in
you
Straight
between.
from there.
basically arrive, I think it was at something like 7 p.m. ish. So you have not quite been up for 24 hours. It
It
is
if it's like
beating
4:30 in
hours.
the morning, yeah, it's a few hours off.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so Tappy almost up for 24 hours, definitely drained, especially given the amount of fights, the amount of spell casting in in the burning buildings. Yeah, um, he he he's kaput, just totally out of it. I think up, alive, but not much better.
All right. Oh, wait. Sorry. Give me just a moment.
No
Take
worries.
like a quick 5. I need to deal with Praetorian tactical stuff as things need to be moved.
I'm struggling to find Mildorf's acid barf, so you're good. I have no idea where I put it. I've got wicked hiccups right now. Did I ever write down Mildorf's acid barf? Did I just manually do the rolls? I think I might have. Oh, right, yeah, because it's an AoE. It's not actually an attack or a direct attack. Hmm. Oh well. Anyways, I guess Mildred's got that back. Pretty sure it's still at 1 use.
Okay. All right. Putting on or off is a complicated procedure. So we're doing a Dawn
Too long
hastily.
didn't read. If you're donning hastily, you get one lower in armor check and armor bonus, or each 1 point worse than usual. It takes 5 rounds to don padded armor, but it only takes a minute to like just don it. To don hastily, it takes 5 rounds. So you're probably just better off.
If it takes a minute, then I imagine Taffy would just, take the time to put it on,
Yeah, it only takes you a
not
minute.
scrambling into it. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, if it's just a minute, Taffy takes the time.
Cool. So I'm back. Um, you don that. I think you still are reasonably able to catch up. You're not like short in stature, right? And I'm assuming you're sprinting.
Tappy is like 5 feet tall exactly, and yeah, they'd just be
20,
running
20 foot or 30 foot move speed. Short in
30.
stature. 30. Okay, so then yeah, you're the same as basically everyone else, and I don't think they're sprinting. I think they're moving with purpose, but this lawyer, still needs to be able to maintain appearances once they get there.
Yeah.
Josh, you have from the time you leave the embassy to the time you get to the police station to make any sort of discussion about what is going on from your perspective, or information that you want to share, or asking any questions. We're going to put that as, I don't know, 7 minutes real time, if you want to go now.
Afraid I don't know much more than you do, but is there anything we can assist with? Those are associates after all.
Um, we need to find out um, what happened with the officer, the state of them in. I don't have any information from Penrith regarding that. I'm on my way to talk with Andera and Rakul, and more importantly, get them to stop talking if they are. Pray to God they aren't.
I'm sure they are.
Let us hope not. We need to find out more about the officer. We need to get a statement from them, but I don't want you talking with them without me present. Um, but unfortunately, it sounds like you are also in the dark. Um, when did you find out about what's going on?
I was nearby but occupied, attempting to put out the fire. They were conversing with the constable, and then screams and imprisonment.
So you knew about this. Okay, you were dealing with a fire. They are disappointed. Uh, I guess, but it is what it is. Um, if you want to inquire about that, you can, but that's basically what you're able to read. They're disappointed. Um, you all continue to move. All right, Josh. Assuming that you say nothing else, we'll speed up time just a little bit. Tappy, when you get there, do you have any questions? Basically, at the point you
Um,
arrive, it seems like conversations are mostly silent and they're moving. Josh, are you gonna go to the hospital at all?
For now, I'm just kind of following her until
Okay.
she tells me to do otherwise.
You had asked if there's anything you could do. Her immediate response was, while not an order or asking you to go do it, just a like, I I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go talk with Rakul and Andera, but also I don't know the state of the officer. Like nobody knows on Redrum side whether or not that officer is alive or dead.
I can at least confirm that he survived the encounter. If those injuries later claimed him, I do not know. But he was being escorted away by some sort of medical team last I saw.
Okay. She's hastily, while running, trying to scribble some stuff in a notebook that she has with her. Tabby, as you catch up, any questions from you?
no.
How how is Joshua's emotional state and how is Tappy's emotional state?
Really confused. It's been a weird series of events. And he's also like just cycling through conspiracy theories on his own right now.
Happy is also confused, also exhausted, and doesn't necessarily have the wherewithal to put together what is going on without explicitly being told.
Okay. As you enter the police station, the um Face of Redrum presents identification. To the front clerk presents demands to be immediately taken to Andera. Actually, immediately taken to Rakul first. Um, as that is going on, Rakul, we're gonna come back to you real quick. So I believe when we left off, you were talking regarding, I think, bringing the girl.
I was about to describe the fight in the house when the dad and the son attacked us.
So they attacked you?
Yes, the I know the son grabbed a knife and Andera managed to get it away from him, and then at one point he reached for it again and I used Mage Hand to move it away from him, and then he was restrained by Andera. And I think the father attacked Joshua, and I don't recall whether he used a weapon. I was focused on the son, but Joshua similarly restrained him quickly without hurting him. and then they were taken to the mayor's
So they
jail.
were just grappled, no punching?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Okay. So talk to me about talk to me let's come back forward. We'll come back in a little bit. Let's come back forward to just a couple hours ago. Walk me through what's going on, what's going on in your head, like this officer's assaulting you?
Um, w- he insulted us and he
The
told
door
us.
opens and in walks the um face of Regent Joshua Tappy. Are you also trying to come back into the police station with this lawyer, or basically once you get to the police station, you're like stepping out of the way? Are you present?
Uh, I think Tappy would try just for the sake of trying to get a better idea of what's going on.
Okay, Josh.
He probably wouldn't be going in there just in case.
Okay,
Just gonna hang out
Tappy,
unless she says otherwise.
perception check.
Tappy perception check.
Yeah, Tappy perception check.
Perception check is there. Oop. I forgot that Tappy sees everything.
Nice. So, Letitia's like at one point glances back, sees like a bird still following her, basically, and it's just like,
Bird
huh?
in uniform.
Like a bird in uniform. Yeah. I mean, she knows that you're, you know, part of. She's more confused. Like she knew you caught up and she knew you were present. She was not expecting, people to follow back. But this isn't the important part to deal with. You're back. You're out of the way. It's just oh, okay, like what are these people, what are these rookies doing? So John, Rakul, you're in the middle
Gingerbread.
of talking about your incident with the officer, um when the door suddenly flies open. A word, uh hold on, where'd it go? Yeah, okay, yeah, it's got verbal. A quick spell cast is heard. You can give me a knowledge of spell cast, real quickly, or like a spellcraft or knowledge arcana. Technically, I believe it's spellcraft, to determine a spell as it's being cast. Thank you, Tappy. Elisa, can you quickly look up spellcraft and what the DC is for a first level spell?
Sure.
We'll assume. Just give me the formula. I'll figure out the DC off of that. I believe it's 10 plus spell plus caster level, but I can't quite remember. Cool. Are you gonna give me a spellcraft?
Oh, sorry. I was dealing with Stasi and
No worries.
only heard you ask Elisa. Where is it?
I'm asking Elisa for a rules check. I'm asking you for
Ah, okay.
15 plus spell.
15 plus spell.
It is.
That's what it
That's what I
was
just
put.
posted. Yes, it's 15 plus spell.
Okay. I
Perfect.
made it.
Yeah, both of you make it. This is this is an enchantment spell.
So Letitia cast something?
Yeah, Letitia cast something. Rakul, you're pretty well studied in spells, right? Because you're like our primary caster.
Yeah.
Tappy, you wouldn't know this beyond the fact that it's an enchantment spell.
Yeah. It's arcane. I'm not used to that stuff.
Yeah, it's not on your list. It's, you're just like, I understand the school of basically what just got cast, but not much more than that. Jack, this is a spell called aphasia. The target's in the room are no longer able to understand any language, spoken, written, sign
That's
language,
awesome.
whatever, for the next, little bit. Basically, she walks into the room, goes, and then looks at you, goes, "Shut your damn mouth! Like, stop! I have to go talk to Andera. Stop talking!" You know,
And
and
I believe Rekul will say, but they don't understand me now anyway.
yeah, that's
She
gonna
says,
end. Stop. That's gonna end, and basically she dismisses the spell, and she goes, "My client is no longer speaking. Um, leave the room," type of thing. They're obviously, who is this, and who are, she shows her badge, shows her credentials real quick, and she goes, "I am their lawyer. They are done. This interview is over with." Um, at this point, basically their hands are tied. They're gonna scramble off. Um, Um, the bodyguard's gonna stay in the room. When she leaves, he basically says to you, "You don't have to listen to her. You can continue to talk to me if you'd like." Cool. Do you continue to provide any sort of context?
no, I don't think so. I think she was impressed with the spell casting and she liked it, and she knows this woman clearly understands the situation way better than her. So I think she's gonna listen and not talk.
You're gonna listen to your lawyer. Very good. Andera, you were also talking. I don't fully remember what you were talking about.
We had talked about the alley, and I had admitted to putting my hands on the guy, but not ever intending any harm, being tired, maybe having a poor judgment. And then we were going to talk about the girl. They wanted to go back and talk about the girl.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell me
Um,
about this girl. This girl. So you didn't poison the girl. Who did?
we believe the girl was poisoned by some rebels. We don't know exactly what the toxin was. That was part of what was being attempted to be determined. Um, and we don't really know beyond that
So
too much.
what makes you say these were rebels? How did the
They
girl come
had
into? Was she kidnapped?
she was not kidnapped. She was spirited away by the rebels in an attempt
The
to
door bursts
thwart.
open and a quick spell is cast. Go ahead and give me a spellcraft check.
Oops. Where is that?
Tappy, this is the same spell. You still don't know what it is, but
Yeah, naturally.
Spellcraft.
yeah, Elisa, you're able to cast off the sorcerer wizard level at least a little bit, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, this is aphasia. This is a level 1 spell that at some point in your wizarding classes you probably like played a prank on a friend with or once or twice, but no, they walk in, cast it and basically tell you stop. Just stop talking. Um, you know, they're going to dismiss the spell, tell the officer there who they are, show their badge, um, etc. But like that order is important for you to know. Like they walk in, cast spell first, and then identify themselves later to this person. Um, it's it's a total lack of respect. And their goal is to get you to stop talking, and they immediately impress upon you like this interview is done, this discussion is over. She needs to go back to her cell, and um, she needs to have one-on-one time with each of you. But basically, you are advised to no longer speak. Do you wish to continue?
I will follow the advice of my lawyer.
Very good. All right. Um.
I feel like after this, they're gonna start having the face come to each class once a year and tell them not to talk to anybody because of my incident.
Your incident has sparked. You don't know this yet, but your incident has sparked a number of potential policy changing and just
So many signs.
just yeah, so many things that need to, standard operating procedures and regulations that need to be developed, and like there's probably going to be incidents looking into your history and teaching and schooling, like who taught this person, like has any of their other students have incidents with violence, like this is
The uniforms are gonna
starting.
have new gloves that prevent you from casting whenever you
Yeah.
don't mean to. They're gonna standardize magic safety.
Yeah. This is
Most of
kicking off a flurry of activity that nobody, including the House of Redrum, knows the scope of yet. We are in reactionary mode as a house. We
Makes
don't
me feel
even
better.
have any of the information, but makes you feel better. I
As a
don't.
player, because
Oh,
Rakul thinks she's never gonna be able to do any good, but because of her mistake, so much good is coming down the line for everyone. Great.
You're gonna catch
sure.
years worth of flack, but it's gonna have kind of an upside.
Right. Um. Okay.
What you doing? Oh, sorry.
No worries. Rakul, you are isolated by the lawyer. Tappy, do you continue to try and like sit in on this conversation now?
Yes.
Junior and
I don't
Birdman
know. Give
followed
me like
everywhere.
I guess a diplomacy or
I I
persuasion, something to
I
basically.
I would like to do two things.
Yeah.
One, I would like to bring attention to me having that. Um, I yep, and yeah, no, that's probably the only one that's really applicable here. All right, so yeah, I would like
You take
to
the +2.
emphasize that I have take a +2. All right,
Yeah. Very
and
quickly.
gotcha. You said diplomacy?
Whatever it is that you would use to basically nonchalantly get her to agree to you just like staying around, I guess. Like she doesn't
Alright,
have a
alright.
discussion like who the fuck are you, or like what are you gonna do, or like
Like, why are you following me?
right, but
No,
it's just more of a just like a whatever role you think that you can convince me is the reason that it doesn't turn into no, you can't be in the room with me.
I'm gonna I'm gonna hit her with a diplomacy right here. Uh, because Tappy's very charming little bird.
Nice.
I want to say that with a 22, Tappy doesn't say anything, just kind of smiles
Yeah.
and keeps following along.
Yeah, you just like
just
kind of
kicking feet on the chair.
yeah, you just kind of become
Like
a
eyes
presence.
go, mm-hmm, just
Yeah.
widen eyes, nice and friendly, and like,
Yeah. It's odd, but what might be even odder is the fact that it has seemingly worked. Like, you're not a nuisance, so you're basically not
not a
worth
nuisance, technically part of it.
technically part of it. Somehow, I guess, can be involved. The cops don't care, and maybe if I need you, I can use you. It'll be nice to have an assistant here, otherwise I'm here all alone. If they're not worth trying to dismiss or find out, just whatever. Heads down, let's get to the story. So you are in the room. Letitia is in the room. Rakul, you are in the room. The bodyguard is no longer in the room. They have been dismissed.
I would like to emphasize that Tappy is sitting next to the lawyer, next to the face of Reachum,
Of course.
naturally.
I feel like Tappy is gonna want to become part of the face after this.
My thought
That's
was
where Tappy
of
goes.
similar.
Yeah, it starts off with just following her around, and it's like, nah, you know what? Tappy's gonna apply his charm and ridiculous wisdom to just legal cases.
So she basically at this point hands you a notebook and a pen.
Fuck yeah!
It's just like here, and sits down with Rakul. Um, first of all, were you treated okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell him about your head.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay. Aside from shoving me head first into, but I mean, they don't have cars, right?
Hold on.
So it's
Tappy,
like
No,
a wagon.
yeah.
Tappy, you are responsible for writing anything down that you feel is of note as basically a paralegal assistant.
Okay, okay.
She has handed you a pen and a notebook and basically, like, I don't know, if you're here, be of use, write stuff down.
No part of me is upset by this.
Why'd you cast use magic device?
I had pressed it by accident.
Oh, okay. I'm like, is this a magic pen? Like, oh, it does not need to be a ballpoint pen where you look at it and they're like, ah, this is magic. Oh my god, if Tappy comes back and she's like, alright, hand me the notes, and it is just drawings of Mildorp.
It's just Mildorp with little
Oh,
hearts.
with the piss bee.
All right, so what does 1 point of exhaustion do to a wisdom check?
What does 1 point of what? Exhaustion?
Exhaustion due to a wisdom check?
Pathfinder's sleep
Looking it up.
rules. Yep.
Maybe it's like a fortitude check.
I hate the fact that Pathfinder is also in the
Nothing
name
to
of a card.
wisdom.
I believe
Nothing
it's
to
just
wisdom?
all
Oh,
strength int or
oh,
strength
sorry. This
con
was the
dex, right?
spell, but strength and dex. Conditions.
Yeah.
Sorry. Conditions. Exhausted. -6 penalty to strength and dex. Nothing
Oh,
to wisdom.
cool. So Tappy's fine,
Are
basically.
they exhausted or fatigued?
Fatigued. A fatigued character is -2 penalty to strength and dex. Um,
A character who is drowsy is half awake
careful.
and inattentive. Um,
I'm gonna drop like a fortitude save to see if Tappy is alert enough for this.
a character who's drowsy is half awake and inattentive. Drowsy character takes a penalty. Yeah, I don't know what the like sleep rules are.
You want
Rest?
sleep
Pick 'em up.
rolls? I'll give you sleep rolls.
Yeah, I think we're looking up for like stuff like rest. So I tried sleep, and that's just not quite what we're looking for. This is second edition rules.
The core rules are somewhat vague on the requirements of resting and sleep, so the following is an extrapolation of existing rules combined with rules taken from d20srd.org, combined with a bit of our own personal ideas. This is from D20 PFSRD.
Yeah, I'm on that page right now. I'm reading the same thing. Uh, give me a lose fortitude save just in case I want it.
All right. Ooh,
Oh,
Tappy's
okay.
solid.
I'm not even gonna worry about it. You're not
Yeah,
feeling sleepy at all.
Tappy is in full work mode now. There are still doodles of Mildorf though in the corners.
Oh, of course.
Sanity damage.
Sanity damage.
Sleep
Sounds fun.
deprivation. For each hour that a character remains awake beyond this amount, she must attempt a wisdom check, DC 10 plus 1 for each previous check, or take 1 point of sanity damage.
Hmm.
Characters who have taken sanity damage from sleep deprivation are drowsy. The severity of this condition is based on the total amount of sanity damage. Total amount of sanity damage taken from sleep deprivation. She has minor drowsiness if she has any amount of sanity damage. Moderate drowsiness if it exceeds half
Okay. Yeah, this
her
is all
sanity edge.
third-party stuff. Do people want to deal with sleep deprivation, or we just kind of hand wave it because we're not expecting to deal with it often, or we hand wave it so that we can deal with a ruling on it later? So,
I feel like given that I'm the outlier, I'm comfortable with hand waving
okay,
because everyone else has gotten some flavor of sleep.
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think we'll deal with that for now. I don't think it's worth bogging the dame down to have you roll. I think at this point, what, like six sanity damage checks.
Yeah.
So we'll just go with where it's at for now. And I mean, in the light of
Where it's at
everything
is
that's going on,
that 24.
the energy, the atmosphere, the newness of everything, and just like, yeah, you're awake.
Tappy is a-okay.
All right, so Rakul, sorry to interrupt your spiel to go into an off and out of character, basically tangent. Tell us what happened. I don't remember the thing that you mentioned that I was like, Tappy might want to write this down.
When
His
getting put into the
damage
wagon.
in getting the
Oh yeah, I hit
in
my
the
head
back.
on something.
Oh, yep.
Was it a car or a
Well,
like
it's not a
You were
car,
getting
but
put into the wagon and
wagon
they
with
did not
like an
lower your
awning?
head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awning on top? Yeah. Okay.
The little lip of the ceiling.
Yeah, so they smacked my head on the way into the wagon thing, but other than that, no, it's been fine.
So
They gave me a glass of ice water
very nice.
that I drank.
Do you need anything else?
Mm, no.
Okay. What happened? Yeah. What happened?
So the reason I'm here is because after a very complicated, long couple of days, we were trying to figure out what happened to Amanda Bella, who was trying to help us with something, and her house was on fire, and we tried to talk to Sergeant Smith, I think his name was, and he basically told us that everything was our fault and he wouldn't help us with anything, and Andera and I tried to intimidate him, and I guess when I grabbed his shirt, the stress must have made me cast a spell that I think it was acid touch or something. And yeah, I think his arm
I think
is
it
lost.
must.
Well, I mean,
So,
yeah. As far as
so
I
you,
know, Andera doesn't cast spells like that, and I do, and that's what it looked like. So
but you don't know if you cast this spell?
I believe I cast the spell.
What what makes you believe that you cast this spell?
Well, I felt the magical energy come out, and then he was burning, and I was horrified, and
Okay. Uh, can you quickly jot down Tappy? Is that your name, Tappy?
Yeah, Tappy.
Okay. Um, uh, write down NDM next to that. Negligent discharge.
NDN.
NDM, negligent discharge of magic. Um. Okay, so how how were you feeling in this month? Like, what are you
as I
tired?
said,
Are you
I was scared, stressed, frustrated. Um, he was threatening me and Era, and
go into
a
that?
little.
What threatening did they give?
It's been a long night. I don't remember exactly. I just know that we were trying to get him to help, and he refused to help, and
You refused to
he,
help with the fire?
with us trying to figure out who caused the fire, what happened to Amandelba,
Okay.
or anything, and he threatened to, like, if I remember correctly, I think he threatened to, like, bring us up on charges having to do with the fire or something if we didn't stop bothering him.
Okay. So they're processing all of this that you're saying, but there's definitely points of this story that seem to kind of go in one ear and out the other. Like this is near unprocessable for someone outside of this situation. Um, we understand basically the words you're saying, but we don't we don't understand why this happened yet. Like
Yeah,
i-
because
the
you know,
officer threatened you. How did the officer threaten you? Well, I don't know if he threatened me. Okay?
right.
So why did this cast? Well, I'm
And
scared. I'm
Rakul is exhausted and doesn't want to
yeah.
go all the way back into the whole story again. Yeah.
The more detail that you give as an in character, this is
Yeah.
to your lawyer, the better. We don't have to necessarily do all of this from an out of character perspective because this process is probably going to take a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be allowed some sleep, and then it's going to probably happen again tomorrow. Um, so highlights on aspects of the story you would like to give.
Um, so like she asked how I was feeling. So I think Rakul would emphasize her her empathy toward Anna and her, like, because she was really, really stressed about Anna's condition for hours
So
on end. And then
who's Anna?
Anna is the daughter of the print shop owner in Hadley, who had been taken by rebels, poisoned with some unknown thing that Amandelba was
Kidnapped by
gonna.
rebels?
she was given to them by her father, but he was told they would keep her safe, and they poisoned her. And she has magical talent, so
She's tested
if she
positive.
survives, I don't know, because I don't I feel like it didn't work when they tested her after the poison, but she was unconscious and everything. You'd have to ask Gray, uh, Gray guy, Gray Fire.
Okay. Greyfire.
But yeah, so she was poisoned, and we found her unconscious, and we took her to the hospital here, and I I her situation reminded me in some ways of when I came to school, and I'm still afraid that she's not going to pull through. And then in the middle of the night, we were awoken by a huge explosion. We were attacked on the street on the way to figuring out what was going on. I was knocked unconscious. I think Andera was too. And then when we were healed by Joshua and Tappy, we finally got to the fire and found out it was Andera's house. And that's when we um, tried to talk to Sergeant Smith. And so all of that stress and physical exhaustion and his like deep hatred of us and House Redrum what fed into my accidental
What was the
cast.
officer's name?
Sergeant Smith, I believe.
Okay. So Sergeant Smith. Note. For a follow up on Sergeant Smith, hostility. I guess. Have you been informed at all of Sergeant Smith's condition?
No, but as I was being taken away, I got a good look at him, and it looked like he's gonna lose his left arm.
Okay. Um.
He was screaming in pain, but he was alive.
Okay. Um. Right. So I've got notes on the girl. Do you give any notes on the fight before Hadley, during Hadley, outside of Hadley? Not the one in Penrith.
Um, I know that Joshua and Tappy fought some people outside the cave where we found Anna, but Andera and I were not there for that fight. We got there after it had ended.
Do you provide that aspect of the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to emphasize that Tappy, uh, between writing down details of Rakul's testimony and so forth, does on a separate page start going through everything from their assignment to building up to here. Literally everything.
Cool. I will
Not well.
want.
Yeah.
So we, out of character, should be meeting next week. It is the fifth Sunday of the month. First of all, is everyone good
Yes.
with that?
Yes, we
I
have it on the
believe
calendar.
so.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Oz, if at all possible, real life comes first. But if at all possible, please try and have that written statement, for me and or the group, by next week.
Yeah, no, I can get that done. I'll have Tappy's whole breakdown of it.
Excellent. Jack, out of character, I do have a written statement from you.
And I think everything
Is
prior
there?
to the incident, she would have had time to write in her journal. Well,
That's
prior to
fine.
the explosion, and she would give that to the lawyer if she
So you
wants it.
informed the lawyer. Is that journal on your person, or would it have been left at the embassy?
Probably left at the embassy.
Okay, so I'm assuming then you inform the lawyer where at the embassy that this is?
Yep.
Okay, make sure that gets taken note of. Um, the uh, Jacket, are you informing me about the journal that I know is kept on the Google Drive?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
so that
try to
is
make a note of where. Yeah.
basically word for word what she would find.
Yeah.
Okay.
See.
Can you post in to an in-character discussions channel with the link to your journal? I have it, but that should come from you.
I get link. There we go. Link.
Please start everything.
Paste.
All right, never mind. You can just keep it here. Let's see where. Let's see where in the journal would you stop writing?
I just put a big line
Yep.
and yep. Following that, it says I was awoken. So
Cool. So everything before that becomes knowledgeable to the lawyer and the legal team. Okay. Is there any other? Also, please feel free to post into in-character discussions the written testimony if you feel that it's still applicable to what you wrote to me outside of game. If you need to change any of that, you're free to change it and then post it. Cool. So that is Rakul's journal. Okay. Is there anything else that you need to add at this moment, Jack? Points of note. An unmuted mic.
I don't think so. I haven't said in this discussion anything about the fight in the house with the father and son, but
Do you bring up the father and son fight in this discussion?
I think I'd mentioned that it happened, but I wasn't directly involved in it.
Okay. Other things that you as a character might relate as you're informing. I mean, basically, they're gonna grill you back and front and back, regarding, everything, basically, almost from the moment you left Stonebriar, because each thing that you talk about kind of leads from the previous, and so we're just gonna kind of work our way back. And then forth again. Other things that you might think about would be the newspaper. If there's any other than what it was there anything of note about the newspaper that you're like, oh yeah, this would help my case?
I don't.
The question is there anything you omit?
So also very good question. Is there anything or any details that you willfully omit?
I don't think so. I think Rakul gets the sense that she's trying to help her. I don't think she feels like she's more concerned with the house than helping her with the case. So I don't think she's trying to
Go ahead and
hide.
give me a sense motive.
Yeah. From what I've heard, I haven't seen anything like that, but where?
Go ahead and give me a sense motive.
I'm trying to find it. Let's see. And my sense motive is crap anyway. It's another 0. So what did I roll?
Let's see that nat 20.
15.
15. Cool. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's here for you. She's here to help you
Yeah.
through this process of this trial.
I mean,
It's
I don't.
or whatever might happen,
Yeah.
right? Like
I
whether it
don't
be a
think
trial or
Rakul's
not a
gonna be
trial.
like sharing how incredibly sorry. Well, I think she might share how sorry she is for the sergeant's future and his condition, but I don't think she'll share like her blaming herself or her worry about the end of her career.
Okay. Okay. Anything you wish to embellish?
No.
Okay. There's nothing that you wish to willfully bring up that might make your case look better, even if it's not quite the truth.
No.
Okay. So no need to roll bluff. Because you're being honest. Cool. If there's nothing else to add, we're gonna switch over to Andera. Tappy, are
Yep.
you continuing to follow along?
I can't tell if the DM asked me that or if the character, if the face asked me.
Both? Are you coming?
Tappy just excited little nod and keeps following along.
Cool. Tappy, right before we walk away from this scene as the DM, is there anything that you need for your notes from Rakul?
I don't believe so.
Cool. We have the whole journal, so for the most part, we have the whole story, and I think we have a gist of and an understanding of where Rakul's going with this. Cool. So, Rakul, you will be escorted back to your cell. Do you provide any sort of resistance, smugness?
Nope.
Okay, it is just an officer. The silken robe dude
That's
is
good.
not needed. And you are escorted back to your single cell. Andera, it's been I
One
don't
week
know,
since you looked at me.
probably like 2-3 hours or whatnot since you were placed back into Gen Pop. Um, were you able to get some rest?
I would have tried, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that you would have been able to fall asleep?
I mean, I don't really have stuff on me other than my weapons, which they probably removed, yes?
Correct.
Because most of my stuff would be back at the embassy, so I'm not trying to protect anything. If it's not rowdy in there, I would say yes. I probably could mostly rest. As far as I'm concerned, I did very little wrong.
Okay. Well,
I'm kind of pissed that I'm in jail, but as far as I'm concerned, I did very little wrong. And she has seemed relatively cool to me, like calm. So
the lawyer? Yeah.
no,
Um. Oh, Andera. Gotcha.
yes.
I was like, yeah. I mean, you haven't met the lawyer yet, but you'll basically meet the same
Well,
person
she
that
did
Rakul
sort
just
of.
did. Briefly.
If you can somehow make it out of this without getting thrown into wizard jail, that's going to be a really, really awkward friendship from that point onward. There's going to be a whole lot of beef there.
A whole lot of lack of trust.
Oh yeah,
I feel
can't
that
wait to see it.
Oh
We
boy.
can't hear you, hon. I think he said something, but I didn't hear it, so.
Okay. Might be talking to kids. So, Andera, same general outline and questions to you. Things you wish to talk about, particularly things that you might think Tappy would want to note down. Things you wish to omit, just from a story perspective, and then things you wish to embellish, or willfully lie about to kind of make the story better.
I mean, I think I would have given the same basic outline that I was given to the investigator. I don't think there's really anything that I would have omitted, especially to the lawyer. I would have emphasized the fact that we were tired, that I admit that putting my hands on him was probably not the best idea in the world. But that I did not hurt him myself. And that I never intended to hurt him at all, which is probably why I failed my intimidation check to begin with, because it's hard to be intimidating when you don't actually mean it.
Oh, how a failed roll has benefited you, now hasn't it?
Yep.
It's kind of amazing how the only people that have the clear-cut story are Andhera, Rakul, and the officer. No one else knows exactly what went down.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Rakul is also like not to be trusted at this point. Like, she just went off the deep end. Like, I'm
Rakul's
not making
unhinged.
excuses for her. She seemed unhinged at that point.
Near death changes a person.
Oh boy. Okay. Tappy, is there anything that you need from Mandera to put into your notes? I know that you have a lot less from her than we do from Rakul, but Rakul's kind of the main focus in this one.
No, our goods is.
Mandera, to tell the entire story, I mean, I've already got most of the story from Rakul, so I probably don't need to follow up on anything that doesn't align. Oh man, I have some stuff that, like, out of character. I have some stuff that Jack has said that didn't really align with my memory, and I wish I had written them down better. We're interested in that fight in the alley. We're interested in.
So I will say, as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned, and I don't remember, but as far as my memory, both in character and out of character, we were fired on first in the alley. We were attacked first in the house. That seems to ring true too. Um, what were you saying that you didn't think
I
aligned correctly?
I was trying to remember. I remember one of the things is, um, the officer threatened.
He didn't threaten us. He was being dismissive. He was being rude. He did say something like, he did imply that maybe we were the ones responsible for the bombing, especially when he found out that we had, like, talked to her earlier in the day. And he was incredulous that the people in the alley were somehow involved. Maybe they were just, like, going away from the fire because they didn't want to be around the fire. Like, yeah. He didn't, I don't think he overtly threatened to arrest us.
Okay.
He was starting to imply that maybe we were
So
responsible and maybe House Redrum was behind all of this. But he wasn't like overtly.
this is out of character from me, just because I do recall. He was basically shoving the whole investigation onto us. Um,
Yes.
yeah, he basically said, "Oh, this is it's it's a House Redrum person. It's military. This is your problem now."
Yes. That's very much true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Incidents with Rakul. Have they shown other incidents of aggression in the past? At one point, you mentioned that, or they mentioned to me, hold on. This will probably be in the recross examination after I've been able to read the journal real quick, because I want to read the part where they make camp. And then a fight ensued. We told them to drop their weapon. 2 out of 3 did. We told them to surrender and they ran. We subdued and captured them. Personally, I enjoyed the chance to practice my spells in the field. Ear piercing scream didn't work well. Hydraulic
Mm.
push didn't work as well in training. but I hope to have more chances to utilize it in the future. I'm very much looking forward to using more powerful spells such as Flaming Sphere, Molten Orb, Scorching Ray, or Spontaneous Immolation, but these simple, sparkless rangers didn't warrant such measures. I am curious to discover what their motive is for spying and sneaking past us might have been, hence not burning them alive. Well, that and plus not wanting to start a forest fire, but for the most part, my focus is truly on the tests ahead. It is always fascinating to see what natural powers the new sparklings manifest. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so after
Holy
after
shit.
lining up our three cactus, Joshua tried to question them, but let me put it this way: it was hard to keep myself from laughing at his bumbling attempt to threaten torture. Andera, on the other hand, was honestly terrifying. Do you want to comment on that right there about you being terrifying?
Uh, I mean, I'm not sure. I intimidated some rangers, but I didn't ever actually threaten physical violence or actually do any physical violence other than running them, like bringing them in when they tried to run. Um, so
And
Tappy chimes in. Also, Mildorf's helps.
who's Mildorf?
At which point Tappy uh, picks up his backpack from the floor, sets it on the table, and just kind of opens the flap where there is a sleeping drake inside.
Um, basically a look of WTF, mate. You know, just you just casually reveal a Drake, and you're just like, yeah, you know, I brought this into the middle of a police officer, a police station, you know, during an investigation into assault on an officer with deadly magic, and um, just what, um, so. First of all, Josh, I'm sorry. I've kind of left you, and then I'm like coming back the next day. I kind of need to stop time, rewind time just a little bit. One, is there anything that you do, or are you just kind of like just still waiting around? Eventually, maybe going back to the embassy after you've been sitting there for a long time, or do you wait for them to come out? They still need to go retrieve the journal. If they come out and ask you for it, would you be willing to go retrieve it for them?
Oh yeah, he's just kind of hanging out, thinking about some of the weird shit that's been going on and if it's all connected, and then gets snapped out of it.
Cool.
Yeah, he'd run and grab anything they needed.
That saves us some time, so we're able to do this. Oz, question for you
What's
as
that?
part storyteller. At what point we've done the initial interviews with Rakul, we've done the initial interviews with Andera. We have not spoken to the officer at the hospital, but he's unconscious. He's not ready to speak to. He's still recovering from post-surgery. Definitely lost the arm. When do we have the lawyer report back using the telecommunication device?
I feel like that would
To
probably
us?
be
Before or after the journal reading?
I would say before the journal reading. They're
Cool.
uh
I would agree.
yeah.
So, let me swap gears real quick, because I need to pull up this part. I started to skip ahead, and I realized, sorry people, I skipped ahead in my own mind, wanting to continue down the path that we were in. But things need to happen with timing. House of Regum operates with procedures. So we have the face of Regum showing up. Okay, the conversation. Tappy, I need you to roll me another diplomacy check.
Aye, Chief.
Stick with this one. Because
Alright.
the following conversation regarding the journal happens with the face of Regum in the room, but they are acting more along Tappy's role, as Tappy just was, to someone.
Oh, Tappy does not get this one.
You
That's
are
a
no
10
longer
functioning.
you are no longer allowed in this room. this is someone who identifies as the voice of Redrum. Um,
Uh-oh.
this is effectively someone who's got the diplomatic power of any of the rulers. In terms of sway, right? Like this is an equivalent would be like an emissary. Um, someone who is able to show up, perform specific tasks as designated to them with the leeway that they deem is necessary. Um, the lawyer that you were talking to, the face, is now basically in Tappy's position. Odds, I'd still, if notes need to be taken, I'd like it if you could take care of that, as you were.
Yeah.
Um, but instead of Tappy taking these notes, this is Letitia taking the notes.
Yeah.
I need to know some things about the voice of Redrum. They also, so Josh, you probably, and Tappy, you probably walk back to the embassy to help gather the journals, and that is likely when um, the face of Redrum reports back. After you get the journals and you bring it down and they read, we're looking at, what do you say, Oz? Like 20 minutes tops?
Yeah. I'd say 20 minutes tops.
20 minutes after the getting back to the embassy and the face making the call. If anyone wants to try and spy on that call, you're welcome to try and roll a perception check.
What about?
I don't know if I would recommend that you try and do this, but if you'd like to, you may. Now is your opportunity.
Tappy's mighty nosy and make a smidge of the perspective variety. I don't think necessarily in the same room,
What do you
but
think?
like probably hanging out outside the doorway.
What do you feel the perception modifier on a lawyer would be? And this is of
Ooh.
the face of Redrum. This is going to be
Yeah.
I guess all lawyers are face of Redrum, but this is, as you and I discussed, a higher ranking lawyer.
Oh God. Hold on? What's my perception? My perception. I've got a 13. Um. So how much wisdom do I have? I have total of
Elisa, can you start taking my
19
perception
wisdom.
rules?
What was that?
I asked Elisa if she can start looking at perception rules to overhear to eavesdrop on conversations.
Yeah. I feel like they'd be higher given where you're about.
I'm
At
just
the same
saying the
time, that's a
modifier
plus
would be
4.
plus. So
I'd say
assuming
I'd
they put a rank into it every time they level up their lawyer class,
I'd
and
let's see. Put
I
a
want to
rank into it everything.
I want to say we thought they were approximately level 7 or level 8. Is that about?
Yeah, I believe level 7 is what we went with.
So that's going to be a plus 7 plus their wisdom modifier, which is probably a minimum of a plus 4. So that's going to be a plus 11.
So to hear the details of a conversation, the DC is 0, but then I need to know modifiers like
They
through a
are
closed door, through a wall, favorable conditions, unfavorable conditions.
okay.
I imagine closed door.
Okay.
Um,
It's not a whispered conversation, correct?
I wouldn't imagine that it's whispered, but it's definitely not loud.
Yeah. It what is the
Like it is
penalty
still
to
like
whisper?
official business.
Elisa, what
What's
is the
that?
penalty for a whispered conversation?
A whispered conversation DC 15.
And
Then
what is
again,
a
so
DC
through
for
a
a
closed
normal
door would be
conversation?
+5, through a wall would be +10 per foot of thickness. So it just kind of depends on what the
What's a normal conversation?
hear the details of a conversation is a DC 0.
Oh, okay. So whispered is 15, normal is DC 0. We're going to start the base at um what do you think, like a 7? Basically,
Sure.
about split the difference.
7 and then through a closed door plus 5. So 12.
Okay, so you're Tappy. You're able to hear the conversation. Um,
It is 4:30, FYI.
okay. What time do people need this one to stop?
We need to stop pretty much right at 5. We can go up to 5, but we need to stop right at 5.
Okay. We will
Like
be
be
done
done
here.
done.
Yeah, we'll be done here shortly, and then we'll start with the debrief, and then we'll resume with where we left off.
Oh my god, what an amazing place to leave off. This super intimidating conversation.
What? Okay, I don't know. Was that a good place to leave off or a bad place to leave off?
I feel like that's dramatic. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I got a lot of thoughts going in my head, so I didn't fully understand
Yeah,
the
no
context
worries.
of what you said. So, I think it's great for us because you and I get to write a lot of reactionary to all
Sir.
this information.
Yep, we can figure out literally all of the coming part instead of bumbling our way through it.
Yeah. This has been, by the way, players. Sorry, Josh, that you've basically been sidelined. I don't have a lot for you.
That's fine.
Hopefully you've still enjoyed it. This has been an amazing session so far. Thank you, Andera and Rakul, for providing a lot of context and a lot of repeating of your words and allowing us to role play out the absolute, hopefully uncomfortable interrogations of the two of you. The So the face of Redrum calls back, and you can only hear one side of the conversation, and about mm, halfway through the conversation, it does drop to a whisper. Do you wish to pursue forward? I haven't told you what you have or have not heard yet, but would you, upon that whisper, try to basically now crack open the door and listen more? And it probably drops to a whisper with, uh, excuse me, and like basically they were talking, they break, and then they drop to a whisper.
I think once it swaps to a whisper, Tappy would cast guidance on himself
Okay.
and then try to crack open the door just to hear it better.
Okay.
That'd be like a stealth check, I guess.
Sure.
Oh
boy.
no!
You get, and I'm not even going to roll for this one, you get a scathing glare from that lawyer. She knows you are trying to listen in on the conversation, and you are no longer welcome to listen in on the conversation. Or you weren't welcome in the first place, but she basically straight up informs you with her looks that she knows.
Yeah,
and
she is no
not
longer
happy.
friendly with Tappy, so I no longer get +2s to diplomacy is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that dropping to a whisper was because you must have made some noise or something along the door. She heard it, and
Door creaks a little.
yeah,
Mm.
and then you're like, I'm gonna try and listen, and she's done. So the parts of the conversation that you were able to hear, it's worse than we imagined. Is definitely a phrase. No, it's not. No. Maybe with her. Yeah. No, I think we need them. I Yeah, I know. I understand. It's needed. We need them to come. I can, we drop into that whisper, and then basically you cast guidance. I mean, this happens in pretty rapid succession. She drops into a whisper, you crack the door, she looks at you, and then she says, I can tell them the rest when they get here.
Oh no!
I'll fill them in on the
Oh,
details when they get here. So, yeah. About
I think Cappy, like after getting that glare, definitely makes a point to scamper off.
about 10 minutes after that phone call hangs up, we have someone who is going to be identified from the voice of Redrum. As stated, for people who are keeping track of the hierarchy of the system, the voice is going to be what you would assign your ambassadors or your emissaries. Um, I got to learn what the difference between an ambassador and an emissary is. So an
I
ambassador
also got to learn this. It was quite fun.
so ambassadors, for those who don't know, are generalized diplomats. They are able to act with the authority of the nation that they are representing within their reasonable reason. They're able to start, arrange, and make trades. Emissaries are functionally the same, but on a very specific task. So emissary scopes are narrowly defined, where ambassadors are go represent us and make us look good, and then send your findings back. Emissaries are go do and take care of this situation. You're authorized to do whatever parameters you give the emissary within the reasons of blah blah blah, but they are very specific. This is going to be functionally a role of an emissary. We'll get into what they're doing here and what their goal is next session, as you players find out. We need to start wrapping this up, but before we do, I need some details about the voice of Redrum. What, if any, from any player on the field, are remarkable details regarding this person?
We're gonna go ahead and immediately draw. I think all business. They are no fun.
We talking like I'm imagining like a child school teacher, like the is it the Tale of Ichabod Crane, Elisa, or something like that? Like, um, basically Mr. Van Tassel. Elisa
Yeah,
would know that
something like
name.
that.
How would
Except they
you?
have to be more charismatic. Like they
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Fantastic would
definitely
just scare
agree.
people. They'd have to
Charismatic,
be more,
but they know their
yeah.
shit.
I feel like maybe they're a drow, but they tend to disguise self as an elf.
First of all,
Interesting.
There's no
we
drow.
don't have to. Well, I was just gonna say we don't have to yet, as we've not made any. There are no racial judgments so far in my world as I'm aware of it. So
Okay.
we can utilize drow, particularly from a looking standpoint, from how a drow becomes a drow or any of its lore. We might have to change what its name is or whatnot, but if you're just trying to use it as more of like a generalized description as to what they look like, or a personality wise, we can use that, but you don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
Say
they're a
more like
drow,
Nick
definitely.
Taylor. Except not like Van Tassel behavior with Nick Taylor charisma.
Okay. For those who don't know those names, 3/5 of the people here. Would you be able to describe that any better?
Yeah,
I know
Taylor
what
was
you mean.
mini V, right?
yeah, Mini V. So Van Tassel was very no nonsense. But he was like, yes, Jason was describing him. He's always the person I think of when I hear the description of Ichabod Crane. Like very angular, very, his touch. He was really tall and angular and kind of a little grumpy in a like humorous sort of way, but kind of a little grumpy, and he could be really intimidating. Nick Taylor was, huh?
Oh, I was gonna say, when you were not at the end of his grumpiness, it was generally a joy to just watch. He was
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes.
But if you were the target of his ire, it was very much not a play. Like, it was the humor theoretically was there from an outside perspective, but you felt
You
none of
did
it.
not feel it. Yes. But Nick Taylor, like, in terms of getting along with other people and being able to charm people, I'm pretty sure Nick Taylor could charm them a lot better. Like, so more charming. In the sense that they can be a very good voice when they want to turn it on and be pleasant and make people like them. Their charisma is very high. But when they want to intimidate, they can be equally intimidating, if not more so.
I
Would be
There's
how
a
I.
duality to that charisma.
yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So Nick Taylor, but when we turn off that pleasantness, it becomes very Van Tassler. I like that. So do we want to keep angular, like in terms of like bone structure?
Sure, we can keep angular.
Sure. Tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay.
have to be tall.
I like that in
We're
tough.
slowly reaching a point where most of Regime officials seem to be at least slightly elfy.
Yeah, I kind of like it. Can possibly lead to some of the longevity in life that we were trying to look for anyway.
Yeah.
And Joshua would be at least half elf if human wasn't such a good race. I need my feet.
Nice. What happens when two half elves have a full human baby?
Sometimes full human, sometimes full elf. Punnett squares.
What was it? What happens when a mermaid and a centaur mate, but they get none of the human parts?
Pretty sure that's called a kelpie.
So
Is that where seahorses come from?
nice. Cool. Any other notable details regarding the voice of Redrum from people?
Actually for me, I don't have any other ideas.
Excellent. Do we have a name for the voice of Redrum?
Ooh.
I wanted to say Locutus, but that's too on the nose.
That's Data's clone?
No, that's
It's Picard when he's a Borg.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's the one.
it means has spoken.
I mean, I'm fine with on the nose names.
We have a region called Roxfald. On the nose is definitely fitting.
Name
gonna-
Locutus. Unless anybody has something else.
I don't have
No.
anything else.
Literally anything else I have would have been derived from looking around the room. So, Locutus might be better.
Okay.
Excellent. I like it. Locutus is going into the Mindmeister as an emissary. Alright.
I wholeheartedly support this.
I've also put Letitia there, and then I'll put the details for you and I shortly. I have
Locutus
them
of
written
Red
down
Rum.
on a. Yeah, exactly. We have a house named Redrum, and that's definitely nothing on the nose.
No, nothing on the nose at all.
There's nothing there in its name.
I would like to emphasize it was going to be way worse, and then everyone, like player-wise, was remarkably friendlier than anticipated. So now everything is different.
What was friendlier, and then this incident happened.
Yep. And then everything changed.
And then the mood all changed. They've been chewed up and, chewed out and booed off stage. Um,
Yeah, they're going to be all cynical now.
okay, so let's go ahead and head into debrief because we've got the hard stops coming up. Elisa, we'll start with you. Things that you liked, things that you didn't like, things that we could have improved upon, stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't really have too many thoughts either way. I think it went okay. It was interesting trying to play stuff out. I don't think anything went particularly amazingly or particularly horribly. Um, I think people did a pretty good job separating character and player. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that both of you talked. I had told Christy on the way home from church today, and I said, the only thing I hope I can do is with a good cop, bad cop type of routine, I can get one of them to talk, particularly so I could use the scene with aphasia. Was really what I mostly wanted. And but also just so that we could start to develop that type of backstory. I mean, if and both of you did a really good job of breaking player knowledge from character knowledge and realizing that your character would talk. They legitimately feel that they've been caught up in a circumstance of wrong place, wrong time, accidents, misunderstandings, whatever you want to call it. Me explaining my story, me talking my story, it's only going to help me, right? If I can
Right.
just make them understand, then everything will be better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. So, uh, um, excellent. Uh, what was that, Josh? Or Italian?
It was neither of them. It was Taffy.
Oh, oh, it was
Osmium.
Taffy.
Yeah, it was me. I'm so unbelievably excited for next session.
Yeah, I'm excited to try and I've got, you know, where I was going already. But you've both have given me a lot of details to work with to try and particularly with the
It's under
handing
the
over the
bus.
journal, throw Rakul under the bus. Yeah, that's totally
Actually,
um uh yeah.
I
And
I
Jack,
did not realize how quickly that journal would get incriminating.
oh yeah, like I was just like, let me just open up the link, and I wanted to pull up just like one little thing, and I started reading it. And I went, oh shit!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, they
I'm
documented
It's
so
very
everything.
cool. Yeah, I see. I think you guys would know
somehow
Rakul a lot better if you'd been reading it the whole time.
somehow 2 sessions in a row, Rakul has just real bad.
Ooh, this is real good. All right,
I'm I'm so excited.
I am too. Uh, Jack, thoughts
Yes.
on today?
Um. Overall, uh, it was fine. It went as expected. I loved the aphasia spell. That's totally a spell Rakul wants to learn if she is ever allowed to do magic again.
It's a pretty big ask.
Not to toot my own horn, but that was my idea.
Yeah. No, we were talking. It was fun. We were talking over the last couple of weeks. I don't remember which session Aphasia turned up on. I think it was this last one. Um, and we were trying to figure out stuff like, you know, what do Redrum's lawyers look like? How does this proceedings work? You know, what's going to be the protocol? When do people show up? Like, you know, such as having the lawyer teleport in immediately, as well as the face, the emissary, showing up very, very quickly after the lawyer reports back the unfortunate bad news. Um, the um, but we had this huge discussion of, okay, well, the lawyers sparkless, or can they cast? And we realized the lawyers likely would fully be able to cast on their own. And then we had to figure out what level they'd be. And then what are some of the specialty spells that Redrum lawyers have. And then we also had to decide what are the legal rules about lawyers casting spells. Um, and making sure that they comply with whatever laws that they need to.
Like
When are they
no
allowing?
casting aphasia in court.
There's no exactly. Actually, there is no casting in court at all. Once you are in the presence of a judge, um, there will be no casting, and casting will be completely intolerated.
Yep.
So there Yeah, 100%, right? You can't use enchantment spells to try and sway a jury. But I mean, having the lawyer cast aphasia especially in the face of sparkless opposition, um, uh, outside of the courtroom, inside the courtroom, it'd still be unacceptable. And during like a deposition, it would be completely unacceptable. But outside of that, walking in the way that they did, particularly since it was not against another lawyer like the attorney general, it's fair game. They walked in, but they have to keep it as brief as possible. So one of the changes made to aphasia was basically
That
that
you can dispel it.
you can dispel it. Um,
Yep.
I think I also made it in my notes as aphasia communal as well,
Hmm.
giving it a slightly higher
Yeah.
level, but being able to affect multiple creatures at the same time. So, for instance, for you, Jack, there were two people in the room. It would
Yeah.
have been cast against both. Um, excellent. Anything else, Jack?
No.
Cool. How, particularly to you, Jack, at least I don't think you have any concern for your character, in regards of you don't need to be concerned. Uh, Jack, are you feeling comfortable with how things are going? Do you need any, basically, spoilers in order to remain comfortable playing?
No, I think I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not have another character made up. I've sort of been running some ideas through my head, but I don't really know. And
I
yeah.
know how someone so unstable made it through training. Like, good God, do they not have psychological tests?
What do you think some of these changes coming down are?
Yeah, look at this group. Of course they don't.
I mean, I'm fairly
I mean, we
stable.
have a little bird who runs off and gambles in the middle of the night. We have a
Oh.
descendant of the ruling house who doesn't know how to talk to people.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
somehow.
problems with this system.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm
Cool.
here, not in a courtroom.
Yeah.
My
There's
main
there's a reason Joshua's not in charge. We
my
just
main
don't really know what
concern
that reason is yet, but we can get to it.
my main concern as a DM is making sure that you players all feel safe. While I refuse to cast any promises regarding the well-being of your characters, I promise that it will always seem fair, reasonable, and as best as I can, not off guard. I hate, you know, players walking into a trap by basically the only way that they'd ever know it was a trap is by the death of one of the characters. It's just an instant kill thing. There should have been signs pointing along the way that you can ignore, but things pointing along the way. So, as just wanted to make sure that you still felt comfortable with it. As I said, I can't promise anything. How it goes is going to be how it goes. Oz.
I mean, like
Oh,
I said, I'm just throwing him under the bus. Like,
yeah. I mean, honestly,
I'm
that's
saving
probably
my own
like the
skin on
best
this
thing you
one.
can. Look, it wasn't me. I got caught up, but it wasn't me. Um, Oz, how are we doing today?
I very much enjoyed today. Props to you for actually role playing. You did a good job. I'm very, very appreciative of you actually role playing. I felt like it made everything come to life a bit more than just yada yadaing through everything. So really enjoyed that aspect. I like that everyone's pretty much stayed in character the whole time, with the exception of the occasional off the cuff like rules discussion and such, or just like clarifying outside of character, um, which was really really nice. I genuinely enjoyed it. I know I didn't do much in way of roleplay, partly because I cannot remember how to do Tappy's voice. Um, but I like to think that based on the little that I've figured out about him, I feel like I played him accordingly and did a good job of keeping the DM knowledge separate from the player knowledge, and then also the character knowledge on top of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but I think it was fun. I think it was really cool just getting to work all that out, and I'm excited for next session.
Excellent. Talon.
No, it was neat. I didn't really personally do all that much, but it was still fun just kind of hanging out, seeing how quickly Rakul's journal sunk her.
I am
I
so
was
excited to actually read through this and like start highlighting things and pulling things out and just being like, oh, okay. So walk me through this.
I
I'm.
mean, she's definitely a little bit psychotic in there.
Jack, one thing I need from you, I need an honest backstory esque. It does not have to be super in depth of your time at the academy. Is this truly a one-off incident, or is this something you've struggled with in the past of a negligent discharge of magic or whatnot? If you need help, how Redrum would have reacted, or how your teachers would have reacted, feel free to leave that aspect out, and Oz and I can discuss it and figure that part out. But if you have, like, for whatever reason, a clear-cut idea of just like, oh, you talked to a teacher and you made sure they didn't report the incident because, whatnot, by all means, include any of that. But I need to know if you have basically any prior history of this, or if you have any prior history of straight up aggression, intentional aggression, or intentional harming with spells.
Or like
Because
reckless behavior.
yeah, reckless
My
behavior
gut,
would be great.
my gut says no, but I'll work on it.
Okay.
Was
My gut
Rakul a goody
says
two shoes?
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting just like skimming through this journal. For the most part, I mean, I think you come off fairly clean after just a brief skim. Um, but
Like,
it honestly could go either way, where it's just like, oh yeah, Rakul's always had this like weird penchant for aggression, much akin like Glitch. Like Glitch
yeah.
wasn't overtly hostile, but to say she was clean of all of the blood on the battlefield would also be a lie.
I get the sense that she was very clinical and she loved magic, and for whatever reason, this situation with Anna kind of brought in a lot more emotion than she'd ever dealt with before, and I feel like that's why.
When you talk about clinical,
Oh.
one of the things that comes to my mind is potential sociopathy in terms of
Yes.
clinicalness, right? The
Oh.
expectation of damaging magic against little critters, etc. It does not have to be against fellow classmates, but
Yeah.
something that it's just like, oh, well, I was just practicing X. I didn't know I couldn't practice X. And it's like, you can practice magic. You can't practice magic like that. That type of just like that little stuff. So if that's where it
Yeah.
goes, like, it does not have to be overt anger or aggression, but things that would have ended up basically in your file, or will end up in a deep dive into your history of things. Even if it's against you, again, this comes down to trust the DM.
Yeah.
We have plans. So next session, players should prepare for a potential fight. Um, there is a chance
That
it'll
you level up
happen.
if you have.
Yeah, so in other words, level up, make sure you're ready. You'll likely all have gotten sleep. Actually, you will all have gotten sleep and rested. This will be probably in at least a couple of days. But just player-wise, make sure you're ready for a fight. It either happens next session or the session after that.
Jason, will it be an expected fight, i.e., I would plan spells accordingly, or would I be
Be
planning spells for a
advised.
different purpose?
Be advised, you will be potentially planning spells without a spell book, which technically is impossible, and I will figure that out.
Okay.
You will likely know that this is up, and you will likely have access to your spell book, but be prepared to remain flexible, even if it's just whatever spells you already know today. We just forgo the fact that you forget them.
Okay.
So I will figure that out and let you know as soon as I know. But for now, yes, you may prepare as if you had the spellbook in front of you. Same to you, Rakul.
Okay.
Rakul, I think your spellbook is very large. Andera, I believe yours is not so much.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Rakul, I need a limited list from you.
Okay.
I don't think I can get you your whole book. If you get a book at all. Excellent. It is 5:02. Anything else from players?
Nope.
Excellent.
I'm good. As per usual, are we gonna do a DM debrief?
Yeah.
Cool.
I guess I tried to give it. I'll try and be brief. Um, it went well today. I really liked it. I had preparation fully all
No.
day.
I meant
Oh,
by DM
between you
debrief. I
and
meant
me,
like,
post
yeah.
post game. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah,
We'll do
post
that.
this like basically pre-planning.
Yeah, pre-planning for tomorrow. I'm all for it.
Cool.
So back on that other note, thank you all for playing. It was wonderful today. Glad it sounds like people are enjoying it. I'm gonna end the recording now.